out. Harry is absent. He's on some personal business, and he will be back next week. My name is Bo White, and I'm the Mayor Pro Temp. It's a fancy word for saying whenever Harry's not here, I get to fill in for him. So welcome to the meeting tonight. We're going to get started, and I have a lot of coaches on each side of me. The last time I did one of these meetings where you did Robert's Rules of Orders was my senior year of college. So it was 6 years ago. And exactly. Lincoln was good that time. But welcome to you. We have a lot of different things to discuss tonight. Not a full agenda, but an important agenda. So we're going to start out with the invocation and pledge to allegiance, and I'm going to ask John if he'd lead that.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, as we come before you today, we just ask once again that you bless us, and we thank you for the blessings that you have given us. And now, Lord, as we conduct the meeting and the affairs of the citizens of Jasper County and the city of Hardeeville, Lord, we ask you to guide us and direct us that we'll do the best service that we can. All these things we ask in this precious name. Amen. That was a quick response, wasn't it? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And take a moment of silence like Harry does for all those that are serving in the military. And so if we could just take a moment, remembering all those folks. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is February 16th, and this is the council meeting for Hardeeville. And first thing I'd like to ask for is a motion for the approval, disapproval, or any changes to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
May I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Is there any discussion from anyone on the council? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. As you can see, we're not going to have an executive session tonight. We're going to continue right on the agenda. And the first thing I'd like to do is see if we have any public comments for tonight. No comments. We'll move on. First thing I'd like to do is invite Mr. Steve Kemp up to the podium. Thank you, Steve.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. We've got two gentlemen that have started with us recently, and we're here to introduce them to you tonight. Some of you might recognize one of these gentlemen behind me. He left about 73 days ago, and he's back now. He realized the grass wasn't quite greener on the other side of the fence. Mr. Ellenberg, you want to reintroduce yourself?
Like you said, I'm Phil Ellenberg. I left for a little bit, went to a different department, decided I want to come back home, so happy to be back.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Okay, Juan, this thing's not on, by the way. And the next one is Mr. Michael Johns. He's coming to us from over the river there. He did some time at Pooler Fire for a while, and then his last stint was at Bryan County. So he comes to us from Bryan County, and he is an advanced EMT, so now he's one of two advanced that we have. Mr. Johns?
Like I said, Michael Johns, about 17 years of experience, a couple places in Georgia, and I'd like to bring that here to the people in the city of Hardeeville. Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome to both of you.
Do you play softball?
I have before. It's
Here you go.
We don't need no more help.
Director
We'll take all the help we can get.
Steve, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
My plan. Mr. Juan Singleton. He's working the switch. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and welcome.
Hello, I'm Jessica Batista. Nice to meet y'all. I'm actually not too far from here. I'm from Bluffton, South Carolina. Went to Bluffton High School, and my background is in news reporting. I worked as a reporter in Grand Junction, Colorado, and Savannah, Georgia at WJCL. And I'm very excited to be here.
Congratulations in your role as a media technician and all that you're going to be doing for us in our meetings and things. Welcome to you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
Nice
much.
meeting y'all.
When we have 125 employees and any turnover, it's absolutely critical that we do a good job in hiring people and really look hard and around to find people. And so, Steve and Juan, thank you for your exhaustive search and getting some good folks for us. Appreciate it. What I'd like to do next is go over the meetings and ask for approval of the meetings from the February 2nd, 2022 regular city council meeting. 23, excuse me. I'm in that time machine again. I'd like to ask for a motion for approval, disapproval, or any changes.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the February 2nd regular city council meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye, or opposed.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. We don't have any old business tonight, so we're going to move right into new business. And I'm going to read the first item on new business as an ordinance. It's the first reading for an ordinance to adopt a master plan submittal for a tract of land consisting of approximately 159.5 acres, generally known as Jubilee Charter School Parcel 066 000001 016, located off of East Argent Parkway, and to amend the official zoning map of the city of Hardeeville to indicate that portion subject to the master plan. And this is ordinance 2023-216A. Katie? Mike?
I'm just going to really quick do a brief overview again as a reminder, because I know you are familiar with this from the workshop. So the applicant is requesting approval of a master plan for East Argent parcel 15-B to be known as Jubilee Charter School. The site is approximately 159.5 acres, and it is again located in the East Argent Plan Development District. The project will include school facilities for preschool, pre-K, and K through 12 school, as well as a large outdoor area for outside classroom instruction, common spaces, trails, and sidewalks. The initial school will include approximately 35 classrooms, 10 preschool, and 25 elementary, and that will serve approximately 635 students. Future expansion of the campus is anticipated to include an additional 16 classrooms. And as you can see, as a reminder, this portion right here is currently being master planned, and the green area is for future development. So if that did come back through, if they did come back for additional development, it would come back in front of you again for that development. And at this time, I will introduce Connor Blaney from Board Edwards, and he can introduce you to anybody else from the team that would like to speak.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Connor Blaney with Ward Edwards Engineering. I'm part of the civil engineering team behind this project. We're excited for this project. As Katie outlined, it is a charter school being proposed here. It's the area highlighted in yellow is intended on being the temporary campus with expectations to open the classrooms for students come August 2023. That's fast approaching, which is why it's a temporary campus, while we can focus on the area highlighted in purple for the permanent campus for students to transition in that area. We also have the principal to be for the school, as well as owners reps part of the development team here as well. If I open it up to
Thank you, Connor. Mayor Pro Tem, Council. In the workshop, again, my name is Matt Rowe. Appreciate y'all's time. We'll revisit anything you guys want. I did bring some much more highly educated people with me today to answer any of the education questions that you want. I would like to introduce Sarah Gruthis with DHSC Holdings and Treehouse Family Services. They're the entity behind the school in general. Tamil Goodson is the founding principal. Currently works for Meeting Street, who, as we said in that workshop, will be our operating partner for the school. Y'all know Connor. And then we also have Casey Sims, who is a teacher with the Jubilee Co-op that's currently operating in Hardeeville, if you remember us discussing that in the workshop. So I just wanted to have some people available if y'all had any of the educational questions or backgrounds. But appreciated y'all's time at the workshop, and I'm here to answer any questions y'all have as well.
Very good. Any questions?
I just have one. There was concern by the master developer of East Argent. I believe it was an architectural review. Was that taken care of?
Yes, we submitted that very shortly after that meeting. Have had a couple meetings following up, and as of today, had confirmation that we're good to go with expected approval by next week, so prior to the next.
For the second reading, then you'll have everything in place.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And also from the workshop, there was a condition to add the bike lane.
Yes, so as part of the East Argent POA and part of that DRB submittal, we've been in discussions with them, and we've agreed to do an 8-foot wide multi-use pathway along the length of East Argent Parkway, fronting that yellow portion Phase A, and then continue that through the roadway system proposed on this master plan.
Okay, and I don't see any playgrounds on there.
The playgrounds aren't shown, but playgrounds will be a part of this.
Okay.
That's something that they definitely want to incorporate and will be designed as part of the final design process.
Are you still on track then to add one grade per year for growth?
That is still the plan. Yes.
Okay, so completion of the project, you're looking at probably 6 years out and possibly.
That's roughly the goal, to be completely built out. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments from council?
I had a few questions, but I met with Mr. Sembor yesterday, and he caught me up to speed, so I have no more.
Okay, Juan, do we have any comments from the public?
No, sir.
Any comments for anyone would like to make a public comment here? Thank you. I'd like to have a motion for,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for, to adopt the master plan of 159.5 acres, known generally as Jubilee Charter School, parcel 066-00-101-016. That is master plan 2023-2, 16A.
second, please.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to jump down to the first reading of an ordinance to adopt a master plan submittal for a tract of land consisting of approximately 30.1 acres, known generally as Argent 2 Parcel F Commercial, parcels 080-00-03-116 and 067-00-02-007, located off the Argent Boulevard, and to amend the official zoning map of the city to indicate this portion subject to the master plan 2023-216B ordinance. I'd like to ask Mike if you have any comments.
I do not, sir. I think Ms. None's going to handle this item, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Thank you. And as Katie did with the last one, we just have a quick statement, an overview, and then I'll introduce members of the team for this. This is Argent 2 Parcel F. It is surrounded by the Sun City development to the west and to the south. It is, they're requesting an approval of a master plan for commercial development to be known as Argent 2 Parcel F. Project site is approximately 30.1 acres and is located in Argent 2, which is the Sun City Land Development District. The current anticipated uses for proposed development will consist of 11,000 square foot office building and outdoor storage for temporary storage of building materials, 5,500 square foot square feet of retail space, and 6,100 square feet of additional office space, and finally, 85,000 square feet of a mini warehouse and storage space. There were some extensive conversations on this, and there were some specific questions that came from council on traffic. So I'd like to introduce Dylan Turner with Kimley Horn to give an update on that information.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening. Dylan Turner with Kimley Horn. I think they're about to pull up a slide. So from the last meeting, from the council workshop, it was asked, it's actually on a different plan, but it was asked to provide a right turn decel lane into our driveway, and that has been incorporated on recent site plans, so I want to make a note of that. It was also asked for us to do a speed study along Argent to look at the potential of reducing the speed limit to 45 miles an hour. Not unprecedented. I did one in Kalawasi, right across from Snake Drive, that was posted at 45. That road winds a lot, has a lot of bends in it, and the speeds allowed us to reduce the speed limit to 45. And you can see on the screen here, we put the tube counts, so pneumatic tube counts calculating volume and speed data at 3 locations, all within the 55 mile an hour zone to make sure, is that speed limit at 55 appropriate or is it not? And from our data results, the 55 mile an hour is an appropriate speed limit. So the travel speeds, the 85th percentile speeds are all within 5 miles an hour at 55. All of the average speeds are over 45 miles an hour. And so what we're looking at is 55 being the appropriate. So did that test. And then I also used a Federal Highway Administration tool called US Limits 2 to what you put in roadway widths, you put in daily traffic volumes, you put in 85th percentile speeds, and then you put in your average speed. And all 3 locations stated that the speed limit should be 55 miles an hour. So there's the study area map. See if I have control. Nope. There we go. So that was the last slide. Just some notes. So you can see here, if I go to my map here, location 1 is closest to 278. Location 3 is towards 170. So location 1, 53 miles an hour is 85th percentile speed. Location 2, the 85th percentile speed is actually over the posted. And then location 3, it was 53 miles an hour. We got crash data from the Hardeeville Police Department at Village Drive. There were no recorded crashes last year. However, I dug into some of the SCDOT crash data. There's been 11 accidents from 2018 to 2021. So 2022 was a year that I guess none were recorded. But all were PDO or property damage only, so no injuries recorded and that type of stuff. And so then the last thing I'll state here too, so the Federal Highway, their tool says 55 is appropriate for travel speeds, the width of the road, and different characteristics. So why the 85th percentile speed? So it's the speed which 85% of all vehicles are observed to travel under free-flowing conditions past a monitored point. It's the speed at which 15% of the traffic violate on average. So 15% are going over that 85th percentile. So the 85th percentile is set to set the speed limit at a safe speed, minimizing crashes and promoting uniform traffic flow along the corridor. If we posted it at 50% percentile speed, there'd be a lot more speeding tickets, et cetera, and you wouldn't have as good travel flow along corridors. And one thing that this corridor does not have going for it to reduce the speed limit is just how linear that it really is. So our conclusion is in agreement with, I think SCDOT did a study in 2021, and the data was still similar to what we did earlier this year. 85th percentile speeds were close, volumes were close, mean speeds were close. So we don't have the tools, or the data is not there to reduce it to 45 miles an hour in the zone.
Any comments by the council?
I have just a couple. What does your data take in the number of traffic accidents over the past 4 years? It seems to me, from what I reviewed, they've almost quadrupled since 2019.
So what?
The number of traffic accidents along Argent from the 278 intersection down to the 170 intersection. I understand where you're coming from with your speed assessment and all of that, but those are numbers. It doesn't change my idea on this project at all. Please don't get that. I'm very unhappy with it that it came back at 55 miles an hour.
Understand.
I don't think the data reflects the true meaning of the area, because there have been a lot more accidents. Your data, if you go back to SCDOT and talk with our police chief, there are some. The object about controlling speeding on there, it's almost impractical on a 2-lane road where they're at to run radar to stop a car. There's no way to do that. So that doesn't really reflect it either. Somewhere down the road in the future, we're going to have to really take a hard look at that speed limit on Argent Boulevard, regardless of what the SCDOT traffic study is going to say, just to keep people safe.
One of the things too that I have an understanding, I think Shortcut Road is planned to be signalized soon. That may help. So let's revisit this once that's there, because now you have another stop. Because right now you're not signalized, except for, was it Riverview Ford? So that's a long way to go between those signals. So that's a lot of area for people to pick up speed.
The traffic load is going to continue to increase on Argent Boulevard. With East Argent,
Abdo
all
track,
of that.
there's a lot.
The Sun City new development is all going to increase that on there. So the numbers that you're showing today will probably be obsolete in a year and a half.
Right. I think it is something worth revisiting for sure. Like as more stuff happens on the corridor, and Shortcut Road being signalized in the corridor, it may help reduce some of the speeds.
Okay, thank you.
With an additional.
Valerie?
My concern was at the workshop was the backing alarms, and I think when we discussed it at the workshop, we agreed to make it one way.
Good evening. My name is Trip West. I'm the civil engineer for the project with Cypress Engineering. I don't know if Brandon had other plans to talk more about the project specifically, except for this, but we do have Lee Poachman with ICG and Tyler with Citadel Storage with us as well tonight. Answer any other questions you may have, but yes, that plan to
Make it
one-way traffic through the project, one-way circulation is still the plan. And I think we have a photo of the ICG's current facility in Florida that kind of shows what that might look like, and how, as Lee stated in the workshop, just logistically for a vehicle to circulate the site, that
Okay.
will be what they do.
Okay.
That's how the yard will be laid out, so that a truck comes in, circulates the yard, and leaves.
Because nobody wants to listen to that backup alarm at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And the truck drivers, I'm sure, would tell you the same thing. They don't want
Right.
to try to maneuver around the back of this yard. They want to drive in, circulate the yard, and drive out.
Right. And the other concern I had was the landscaping to provide more opacity to the stretch of property where you guys are going to be, have not just the canopy trees, but lower lying landscape as well. So, it's not, you're not having these buildings just up there.
You speaking more to the area along the perimeter of the project or along Argent Boulevard?
Along Argent as well. I mean, not to hide your property per se, but just to provide some kind of opacity to the rest of the buildings over there because, you know,
Yes, we do have some understory requirements for those landscaping. plans,
perfect.
so it-
All right.
it's-
Okay. Thanks, Brenna. Yeah, that's it for me.
John?
I had, that, traffic study. I had, looked at that, and it was a good traffic study, and then you, referenced the, 2021 traffic study, and, actually, I was talking to Mr. Simbor yesterday, because I remember that traffic study, and they actually had something in there about, even if you put a, which was a surprise and a concern, if you put like a speed limit of 50, people gonna push it. So if you, the lower you get, the more they're gonna push it. So I guess what you were saying with this 85% thing, I guess if you come up with what the people consider a reasonable speed, they won't push it as much over the posted speed limit as they would if it was lower.
Right, and so like 55 miles an hour is the highest speed limit on a two-lane rural road that the state allows as well. But what the speed limits look at too are just our road characteristics. So lane widths, shoulder width, stuff like that. And this road classifies for being 55 if the travel speeds dictated at 55, and that's what we have. So an example was the Kalawasi study I did, where that's, you know, two-lane road, same lane width, shoulder, like we have on Argent, but the road curves. So there's a lot more curvature in the road, so the speeds weren't as high. So we were able to do the speed study there and reduce it. And so that's what so both roads were eligible to be 55 miles an hour, but the characteristics and travel speeds is what
Awesome.
dictate.
And you, and hopefully the, shortcut road, traffic signal will be coming soon. And you're right, there is a great distance right now, between, you know, signals. And hopefully that'll help some. But I was shocked at the volume that, travels that road every day. I knew it was a big volume, and, what Steve was saying a while ago, eventually we'll have to, because it's not gonna decrease, well, I guess we'll eventually have to, revisit this later on after shortcut. And, talking to Sam and some others, see kind of what we'll have to recommend, but, I see where you're coming from right at this moment.
Yeah, and things will change. I mean, with different developments coming along and all that stuff. So it's worth revisiting as developments come along.
I would add to John's point that the vehicles counted were around 14,600 on the 31st. On February 1st, it was 14,008. And on February 2nd, it was 14,900. That stunned me, that amount of cars up and down there. I just couldn't get over it. When I was 10 years old, my grandfather was thinking about opening a filling station. He had a guy sit on a corner and count the cars that went by, and that was his traffic study. Today, when you look at how sophisticated these studies are and the amount of mathematics that are behind this and formulas and stuff like that, it's very, very impressive. And sometimes lowering things can cause more adverse effects than keeping it at 45. So I thought it was an excellent study. You gave us a lot to think about, and thank you so much for the recommendation. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a comment? Juan, anybody calling from Missouri to say anything?
No.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'd like to ask for a motion on the first hearing for approval, disapproval, or any changes.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve on, first reading ordinance number 2023-2-16B.
May I have a second?
I will second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Like to jump down, see John getting ready. Kind of anxious as he's coming up, a little nervous. This is a first reading of an ordinance to amend the budget for the city of Hardeeville, South Carolina, for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023. And this is ordinance 2023-2-16C. So, John, I'm going to begin with you.
Thank you. Did you want to kick it off or?
It's all you, Mr. Chairman.
So just three quick slides. As we do, at least quarterly, we look at the, well, on an ongoing basis, we're looking at the revenues and expenditures to see where we are through the year. And then quarterly, typically, we will come to you and say, these are some things we're noticing and this is where we are. So just short and sweet, we've reviewed it. We are proposing a budget amendment to increase the general fund by $358,800 for revenue and expenses, and part of this, as part of that 358.8, we're asking to appropriate $256,500 of the general fund balance. So I'd like to walk you through that, and so what we have, and can we? Juan, are you able to expand that, make that a little more? So it's not small, just so I can pull the wool over your eyes, I promise. But I'll just walk you through what's up there. Is obviously we want the amendment to balance. You've got an allocation of fund balance that I mentioned, the $256,500, and then the SAFER grant, which is $102,300. That grant allows us to increase our fire department staffing as we continue to grow, and will also allow us to begin to ramp up our staffing for the ALS service, as y'all are aware. From the expenditure side of it, we have, as we've grown, one of the things I really like about working here is we take the time to show some appreciation to all the staff and everything. And as we've grown, that's become, a substantial amount of money. So we want to add $20,000 to the general fund budget to allow us to have, a place to put the cost of appreciating our employees. So that's the $20,000 for that. The SAFER grant, you see, that's the 1023. That's for the fire department staffing. Media, and just by the way this has to be laid out, the $55,000 that we're asking to add to the budget is for it's the broadcast solution for in here to continue to improve the broadcast solution. That is coming to you after I'm done talking. That is what Juan and James will be coming to you to talk about in a little bit. Building inspection, had the opportunity to visit with Brandon, talk about where we were so far this year. And as you know, the building department is full up, but and got plenty to do. So part of what we're trying to do there is make sure that we've allocated enough money for overtime for her staff that's doing that. And then the final thing is, now that we've had John Brown here for a little bit of time, he and I sat down and we had a chance to look at all that he had in his facilities maintenance, and the $139,000 there is largely the result of the greenery contract that we entered into in the July, August timeframe, and that's a very substantial and nearly all of that amount. So that's the nuts and the bolts. That's all I got. I got 3 slides. So happy to answer any questions.
Steve?
No, thank you.
Ellery?
Me either.
John? I don't have any questions. I do have a comment. Mike, how about yourself down there?
The only thing I wanted to note, and Mr. Boyle didn't talk about it, was the bottom part of that, the projected fund balance amounts. And I think as the council obviously can see clearly, we have a very healthy and stable and I don't want to say sludge fund, but you know, the unallocated, unexpected amount, just in case, rainy day fund, unexpected things come up, that's the amount, and that is very healthy. That's in addition to the 25%, I'm sorry, 20% we have for the budget stabilization fund. So we set aside, you know, a certain amount, 4 months of operating just in case of a hurricane or unexpected. So this is the additional amount. So very healthy. And we're obviously recommend that we use a very small portion of that for what we believe are needs of the city.
If I could piggyback on that, yes, I did neglect this whole thing, but what we wanted to show was that we had a projected fund balance for what we thought we would begin this year with or end 22 with, and we were ahead of that. We had much more at the end of last year than we anticipated. So what we're looking at here is even with using some of the fund balance, we still have a much healthier fund balance than we had anticipated when we ended last year and as we got into this year.
Any other comments? Anyone from the audience, comments? I have one comment, and I think I could speak for the council here. Didn't clear it with anybody ahead of time, but one of the strengths of Hardeeville, we have a lot of them, is the budget process, and that we get the facts behind what we're going to do. And a lot of places don't do that, both in the public and the private sector. And I think we do a good job. So I want to comment you, John, and your staff, and Mike as the city manager. It's something we do a good job on. It's necessary, and we can go into the confidence with the budget hearings to know that we have the facts. And I appreciate what you've done in your department. Pass that on to them, John, if you
Appreciate
would.
that, but I also want to say that it's not just the city manager's office and finance, but the department heads are each year taking more and more ownership of their own budget, and that's working really well for us too. So it's truly a team effort, but thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Owen. That's very important, John. Thank you.
Going other days, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and I think, no, Laura can remember when we had like a 30-day, enough money in the balance for the city for 30 days. So we've come a long way. A lot of it's been Mr. Sembor.
Thank you.
I'd like to, since there are no comments from the public and nobody's calling in from Missouri again, I'd like to ask for a motion for the approval, disapproval, or any changes for the presentation on the budget that John has just made.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I will make a motion on first reading of ordinance to amend the budget, which is 2023-2-16C for the fiscal year July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
May I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Carried. I'd like to go to the next item, which is not an ordinance, but a resolution. And it's a resolution of the city of Hardeeville, South Carolina, City Council authorizing the acceptance of a proposal from Rock Solid Swaggart. And did I say that right, Noel? I mean,
Yes, sir.
Juan?
Yes, sir.
For an audiovisual television solution, and authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Rock Solid Swaggart Incorporated, Resolution 2023-2-16. And Juan, I'd like to recognize you to give us an overview of what you have in mind here and the benefits, and also for you, Jim.
Tag team time.
James, excuse me.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you know, we started doing some upgrades to this room last year before last, and just kind of want to piggyback on that, take it to the next level. We have had some upgrades, and this is a company that's come in, and they are telling us some of the things that they can do, and they're using, a lot of people around this area using them. Beaufort County is using them. And some of the great things that they can do is They will really help us out with keeping minutes. There's a way to video index everything, hands-free video streaming. Yeah, you can go ahead. And there's just, so it adds a few things that we don't have. Live captioning, and we can do that in Spanish as well. It'll automatically
That is
translate.
fantastic.
Oh, yep.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, she needs to do that. But if you're talking about a specific topic, say you want to talk about media, you can just type in the word media, and it will find that in the minutes, and it will pull up those exactly every place that media has been said.
Search words and.
Search words, exactly. Index searching. And as I said, the captioning. And it also has a sound search where you can say what you're looking for, and it will find it as well. So these are some of the things that we're looking for. We're going to try and show you what Beaufort County does, but that doesn't seem to be working right now. So yeah, this is how Beaufort counties are set up. And so when they're doing a meeting or anything like that, you will be able to see the agenda over there. You will be able to go exactly to what you're looking for after this meeting has been recorded. But if it's live, you can watch the meeting live. It'll be on our website as well as on our television station. And when you're looking for something later, easy to find it.
So this company also does indexing of the video along with indexing of the transcripts as well. They have a feature called word search as well. So if there's a citizen or staff member or whoever that's interested in something that's going on or something that went on in that council meeting, for instance, here I can look at this championship. I can click this word championship, and this video will go 10 seconds before the word championship was mentioned in that video. So you can word search everything. Everything's indexed, transcribed. Multiple languages are available, Spanish and English. So it's a big benefit to the citizens as well.
One other thing, and we hope you never need this, but they can actually run our meetings remotely. If, say, the whole media department can't be here, let them know in advance, and they can actually do the meeting remotely. So.
Questions for the council?
No, I think it's great. The ability to be able to have closed captioning in English and Spanish is a huge benefit.
Right, and that's with the live streams as well as the transcript. So live streaming to the TV stations or our different media outlets will be closed captioned as well in multiple languages if we choose to do so in multiple languages, or if we just need closed caption in English, or whatever we decide there.
John?
Mike, I guess Mike's had so many, I call Mike all the time. Mike, TV stations, people calling, it's not working, whatever. And then we spent all this, I got disappointed because we spent all this money to upgrade. And then James comes and says something about that it's not talking or something. They're not meshing. And I'd call Mike, and Mike would say, John, they're doing so and so. And because a lot of the senior citizens and things, they count on the TV more so than online and things like that. And I just worry after a while they're just not going to watch because they say it's a constant problem. So this sounds like, well, if it's got a name Rock Solid, I guess it's good.
So one thing about it, I know we show Beaufort County just because they're our neighbors and just to see what they use it for. But this company does San Antonio, Dallas, San Francisco. So we're talking about cities that have 20 or 30 meetings a day that are running concurrently and broadcasting at the same time on different channels. So they're no small player in the game. They're doing some large cities and whatnot.
So in your opinion, this will take care of the issue about talking to each other and whatever, meshing or whatever?
So technology is a strange thing.
Oh, my God.
And sometimes you just have to work it out until you find a root cause analysis. But in my opinion, I think it will be better than what we currently have because it does have some components that are not, for lack of better terms, I don't want to get technical, things are integrated together right now instead of each device performing its own specific job. So it kind of gets a little things convoluted. So.
Okay.
This system has the ability to grow as we grow then.
Absolutely. It also has, on
Right.
the service contract that we deal with, that we would deal with, which is a portion of that cost, that is flexible as well as we grow.
We have a timeline for implementation of all of this.
Um, I'll let Juan speak to that.
They said they are not really that pushed behind with, there's been a lot of shipping problems in the past. They didn't give us an exact timeline, but they said they have a lot of stuff that's right on the shelves that they could come and start up pretty fast.
Let me ask a couple of related questions. One, for the public out there to use this system, is it pretty user-friendly from that side, James, that even a guy like me could get on there and figure this out?
Yes, absolutely. Lori and I had this conversation earlier today. So they will serve as our repository. So everything that we do will go there. Everything that needs to be immortal will be immortal. Everything that has a time step on it can be adjusted to that time stamp to be removed at the appropriate dates based on the laws of the availability for the citizens. But they will be our repository. It'll be a quick link just from our website directly to the library, and they keep everything for us. So, yeah.
Wow. Second question is, it was impressive on minutes, and those are very critical, timeliness, and also that they're not edited or changed. And it sounds like this is going to be an exact copy of what happened as opposed to editorializing or any of those things.
Absolutely. It is a verbatim transcript. So just like I just said, you would see in in the transcript there. And it's 98.4% accurate on the transcript. So
That's impressive.
I know.
I'm impressed with the work that you did to get a system and ready to this. You both deserve hats off. Really, that's a Rolls Royce of these kind of systems. So that's nice. Mike, anything from you?
No, sir, I'm fully supportive. I think I even brought this product to these gentlemen, said, you guys got to check this out. And they did their due diligence. And I think it's it's going to save a lot of people time.
No doubt.
And if we ever get sued, hopefully we never do, we got transcript and/or obviously the concern from the planning commission about, their minutes, we can push a button. It's, so there's a lot of, and then obviously saving time for the clerk and everybody else that takes minutes. So this is a really multifaceted benefit for the city.
Outstanding.
And I didn't mention the turnaround for the transcript is 24 hours from the actual meeting, even though you don't vote on it until the next meeting to approve the previous minutes. The transcript can be turned around in 24 hours if there was a different process or whatever that needed to be put in place to get it posted quicker. You have the ability to do that as well. So.
Thank you both for the impressive presentation on that system. Is there any questions or comments from afar? I keep saying Juan is your assistant's now managing it.
No comments.
Tell me your first name. I'm sorry I didn't address you as your first name. Jessica, I apologize. Thank you very much, Jessica. Any additional comments? I'd like a motion then that we approve the reading that we had or disapprove.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Rock Solid Saget. Item 2023-2-16D.
Second?
I second it. Miss Laura said she's gonna hurt me if I don't, so I second.
May I have all those in favor? May I hear aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you again. Impressive
Oh, yeah.
addition to our
Unbelievable.
capabilities as a city.
Increases transparency.
And I also like the fact that from a legal point of view, Mike, it gives us an extensive verbatim history. And I think that's so key with editing and what are you really saying, et cetera. So thank you for your recommendation on this one. I'm dropping down to you now, Mike, for the manager's report.
Yes, sir. Three quick things. I think the council knows we do have a workshop next Thursday at 10 a.m. at the rec center. So we're looking forward to talking about the Exit 3 project and everything that's involved in that. So we're looking forward to that. Lunch will be after our meeting, so we're looking forward to that. Miss Lori will be taking care of that, so that's a good thing. We also will have just the council, just to confirm, there will be an executive session on March 2nd at 3 o'clock. And we will publish that agenda relatively soon. And then I just wanted to congratulate the Mayor Pro Tem on such a fine meeting, since you only did it a few years ago. So great
Right.
job, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. That's all I have, sir.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Can you comment on the Jasper County, state of the county now? Would you like to do that, or?
That's next
Yes.
Wednesday, so we would, and I think, obviously you're all signed up. We have most of the department heads, the mayors and, the county chair. Well, I'm understanding we'll do a brief report of the activities and successes in the county, so we look forward to that. And that's at Latitude Margaritaville next Wednesday.
And the mayor from Ridgeland, Harry, will be back and speaking, and also Marty Saul. So that will be a good overview of the progress in our county and the contributing cities, Ridgeland, ourselves, and it's going to be impressive in Jasper County. Anything else, Mike?
That's all I have, sir.
Very good. Let me ask each of the council members, do you have any concerns or information you'd like to share, or announce your birthday, or any of those things?
One of those every year. I would just like a couple of comments. The new system that we just approved with Rock Solid, there's cities 3-4 times the size of Hardeeville, if not even larger, that don't have that capability. It's great that we are a leader in informing the public of our actions. That takes transparency to a whole new level that other cities should be looking at and maybe following our lead. Second thing is about 2 months ago, almost now, there was an accident at Argent Boulevard and 278 where a trailer fell over, and they had to literally destroy it on site to haul it away. Well, after they cleaned it all up, there was a big mess left of insulation and other things to it. And I'd like to thank Mike and John, because I mentioned it at a council meeting, and it was cleaned up the next morning, and I had a lot of people thank me for getting that cleaned up as quickly as we did. It just shows pride in our city. Even though that little piece of ground is not Hardeeville's responsibility, it shows that we care enough about our community that we will go beyond our own borders to make things right. That's it, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
I would like to tell Mr. Simbois what a great job Miss Lori did for our flawless arrangements that she made at our recent MASC training. We didn't have to worry about a darn thing, because she had taken care of every, right down to the most minutia detail. She took care of everything, and it was honestly a really great experience, and thank you for that. Also, I have to tell Chief Woodward that a week after the last city council meeting, I was coming home, and I saw two of HPD's finest helping a driver who was stuck, I think, without gas on the right westbound lane on 278. And they had a gas can with them, and they were helping that gentleman tank up his car so he can get home. Most times than not, people are always complaining how bad the police are and you know, that kind of thing. But good deeds like this never go reported, and I want to commend you on those two young gentlemen. I couldn't stop because there was somebody right behind me. But I just wanted to let you know, I don't know who they are, but it was about a week after the last city council meeting. So, thank you.
I'll look into it, see who it was.
Yeah, two HPD cars were parked by the side, and they were helping this gentleman get back home. So, thanks.
John?
Just to echo last comment about our Columbia trip. Laura did a great job, as she always does. And I want to thank her, and also, I think this program that we just approved is gonna make her life a lot easier. I've come up here many a time over the years, and she have her sign on her door, you know, if you knock, I will kill you. And so I know this will make her life a lot easier, if she has enough other things to do, not to have to worry about minutes. And this, I mean, was it 98 point something % accurate,
Yep.
James? I mean, it's amazing. And the Columbia trip was very informative. I think everybody learned something. And we also had a ribbon cutting that nobody has mentioned. I want to mention that for Starbucks. Anybody like Starbucks coffee? And little strudels and pastries and stuff, they got it. And I tell you what, that line sometimes, I thought the one on over there by Verizon, that line out there sometimes all the way into that little frontage road, and I think this is gonna be just as bad. If we can ever get Brooks Willis Drive, Mike, it's golly, it's one little drop off here, to knock your filling out. It's such a deep thing, but anyway, they're working on it, and I want to give kudos too, because Sam, you see it every day. So many complaints about our police departments and officers, you know, with attitudes and treating people wrong and stuff. And nobody's perfect, but Sam runs a good department. And I don't know if anybody's ever been around when we have a storm or anything bad. Sam has those officers saturating the city, patrolling. I mean, saturating. And he just does a good job. And I don't know if Steve's back there too. I saw them, but Steve, y'all doing something the other day, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, I'm gonna remember that. And I think I've told you personally, I've had some dealings with, from a personal standpoint, with Steve and his guys, that they don't come any better, and they are so conscientious and considerate. So Hardeeville is very, very fortunate for our first responders. And I'm gonna give kudos to everybody in our department, everybody in the city, because they get stressed sometimes, and they do a good job. So, and then there will be an ALCOG meeting on the 23rd. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that's it for me.
John and the rest of the council from our executive sessions have raised a very important observation from sort of 30,000 feet, and it's this, that as in any city, there are challenges, there are problems, there are things that we're working on, some things we're scratching our head about, but we have a lot of things that are going right, and we have some excellent staff and some people really working hard, the first responders, et cetera. And when you sit in the council, like I do and the rest of the council, and we hear these reports, we know we're the council for the right kind of a city, the one that's growing and problem solving and open, and that's really impressive. So from 30,000 feet, I'm impressed and appreciate all the hard work. And I don't get to sit here often as the mayor pro tem, but I want to pass on my congratulations. Also, the meeting that we went to in Columbia was very, very helpful and very impressive. And I echo what's been said. After we finish our meeting today, Barbara Johnson is here, and she's going to be doing a assessment, and that's impressive after we adjourn our meeting. So we appreciate you being here, and welcome. And I'd like to now ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
May I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. Program year starts April 1st, 2023 through March 31st, 2024. Fair housing is the law. As part of the requirements of this program, each locality is expected to take an activity, a fair housing activity. Title 8 of the Civil Rights of 1968 stipulates that we all have the right to be treated fairly, that's regardless of our race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. That's in the sale and rental of housing, residential real estate transaction, and in the provision of brokerage services. If you believe that you have been a victim of discriminatory housing practices, you have avenues by which this matter can be investigated. The City of Hardeeville and Low Country Council of Governments are committed to fair housing. For more information, you can contact us at Low Country Council of Governments. This CDBG program is designed to provide assistance to units of local governments, and that's to benefit low to moderate area income families and persons. And that's in improving economic opportunities and meeting community revitalization needs. To be considered LMI qualified or low to moderate in Jasper County, one person household income cannot be above $33,500, two person household $38,300, and it increases with the number of persons in the household. This program is funded through HUD since 1982, and Title I of the Housing Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, Title I. The CDBG program is administered through the Department of Commerce. The allocation for this year is approximately $19,740,854, and that's for the entire state. So we've missed the action plan. They've already held the public hearing for that. So, grant program categories. There are three broad grant program categories. That's community development, business development, and regional planning. So that sheet that I gave you, it goes over the community development program. That's the one that we use the most. And that sheet lists quite a few things. When the application is due, when the request is due, the activities that you can apply for, the minimum funding and the maximum funding. For community infrastructure, there's about 10.9 million set aside. The application request goes in March 17th of this year. The actual application goes in April 17th. That's when you apply for your water, sewer, drainage, and roads projects. The minimum you can apply for is $50,000, and the maximum is $1 million. Local priorities, there's $1 million set aside. Application request due in August 15th, and the actual application is due September 15th. That's where you apply for your economic development, your public health and safety, quality of life, and sustainability projects, resiliency, and narrow the digital divide. And this is a new program for us. It replaced an old program that we referred to as special projects. Minimum funding is $50,000. The maximum is $500,000. The community enrichment, there's $3 million set aside. Application requests are due in August 15th. The actual application September 15th. You find your brownfield projects, demolition of obsolete buildings, your downtown streetscape projects, planning for regional infrastructure. With that particular project, there's only $25,000 is the max. Your libraries, publicly owned facilities, transportation-oriented public facilities, public safety facilities and services, demolition of vacant, dilapidated structures to address and support crime prevention, your fire substations or fire trucks, health clinic facilities and equipment, public facility modifications, your new sidewalks in LMI areas. The minimum that you can apply for is $50,000. The maximum is $750,000. Ready to go, set aside, there's $600,000 there. Application requests are ongoing. Once you've submitted your application request, you have 30 days to complete the entire application and submit it. Activities in community infrastructure and community enrichment are eligible for this. So the ones that I mentioned earlier, they are eligible. So there's a minimum of 50,000, a maximum of 500,000. There's a maximum waiver available. Neighborhood revitalization, $1 million set aside. With this particular project, you must have a plan. That plan would, you'll take several of these activities, put it all into a plan, tell us what you're going to do, and put it out for funding. Application request is due in August 15th. The actual application is due September 15th. The infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, and drainage, public facilities, your sidewalks, security, lighting, cameras, and police substations. Housing, infrastructure only to support affordable housing. Housing, limited exterior only. Demolition and clearance of vacant, dilapidated properties. Public services, your crime watch programs, drug, gang, education, awareness, prevention programs. The maximum funding is 50,000. I'm sorry, minimum is 50,000. Maximum is 750,000. There is a required 10% match for all projects. Business development, there's a $2 million set aside. Regional planning, 500,000, and state T and admin, $692,225. The business development, if you're interested in that, I'll have Michelle Knight, our director, contact you and give you more information on that. Any projects located in opportunity zones will receive an additional 10 bonus points. You can find that map at scopportunityzone.com. And I think a portion of Hardeeville is located in that opportunity zone, isn't it, Neil? Okay. So if you have a project in the area, you get a bump up of 10 bonus points. Performance threshold, well, a unit of local government can only have no more than 2 open projects. City of Hardeeville right now, you don't have any, so you're not at risk for performance threshold. Beaufort County Low Country Regional Home Consortium, comprised of Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and all 21 municipalities in the region. You'll be getting a letter from, I'm not sure if it's going to come from Beaufort County or LCOG, asking if you want to re-up and stay in the consortium for the next 3 years. That'll be coming out in a couple of months. The top 3 objectives: rehabilitation of substandard housing, increase accessibility to adequate and affordable housing, support the development and availability of safe, decent, and affordable housing. In our counties, we have areas that are in need of affordable housing, rehabilitation of substandard housing, and demolition of vacant, dilapidated houses. As the housing stock ages, of course, you have more people at risk of becoming homeless. We'd ask for you to give us a list of the priority housing needs for your area to be considered in our upcoming 2023 through 2024 annual action plan, which should be submitted to HUD by April 28th, 2023, or shortly thereafter. So that completes the presentation and public hearing. We'd ask that if you all would give us a list of your needs, or if you want to all get together later and do it, because we really don't have anyone from the public here.
Very good. We can follow up on that. Neil, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
The biggest thing that we get hit with is that as a city, we all know that we're growing as far as the household incomes quite a bit. I mean, it's significantly grown. So the LMI, we don't meet it in most areas throughout the city. And to concentrate on the area to do so has to be a survey taken. And you only have probably portions around this downtown area that would even, if you did conduct a survey, and I think John was probably here last time they did a survey, they tried to do one for a fire truck or something of that sort. It's a very tedious process. Yeah, I mean, so half the people you go to, they don't answer the door to do the survey and stuff. So it's really very challenging. It's a great program. Like for the county and stuff, it's great because they have so much LMI. They can hit a lot of these projects. For the city, we're kind of hindered of what ones we can go after. So
that is true. However, demolition of vacant, dilapidated units, you can do that even though if
But you
you're
have
not.
to declare them, you have to make that clarification on them, and it's something that puts the council in saying that these buildings are, you have to make that decision that says, we want to go after these buildings, so all of a sudden that puts some pressure on you guys, because, you know, you're basically saying some of these old houses that people may know, is able to be torn down, so it puts some pressure to stuff on you all to consider.
It's a sensitive area, that's for sure.
It is.
Yes, sir.
However, there are some people that may want to have their units. You're not going to go to someone who doesn't want to participate. So it's not that if you get a project, they must participate. When you submit the application, you already identify the units. Also, commercial. You have any commercial units that need to be demolished, and they're willing? The owners are willing.
Yeah, that's, and again, another touchy subject. We may sit here and say there's 10 or 12 in our opinion that needs to be, and the owners say no. I mean, so all of a sudden, if you've got to make a decision on, what do you do?
Right.
And so again, it puts pressure back on the council to say, yes, that needs to go, or no, whatever, so.
Anybody on the council, any comments?
Yeah, we may need to take a look at this though, because we have talked about with the developers that are coming in that are here, that we have talked about by reusing some of the land with the dilapidated homes and vacant to look at affordable housing. If we could kind of maybe wrap that idea around something there, I do believe there's probably some vacant properties out there that the owners would be willing to get rid of and have the home demolished instead of paying taxes or whatever else is left on them. I think we just have to, and there again, I agree. You know, we have to have code enforcement involved. It's quite an involved process.
It's an involved process, and if you all are committed to doing so, I mean, we can start that process. I mean, first of all, you'd have to do an inventory of stuff of the houses that you think that would be potential prospect for that. Then start meeting with those owners and stuff as well, or potential, I mean, whatever, it's tied up in heirs. I mean, so there's a process. We can't just say, hey, 2 months from now, we can do this. Maybe by next year, you're able to do it because you have a plan in place that says, well, this building, this building, this building, this commercial activity, whatever, that sort. So it'll take a little bit of work, so.
We can't, it's not something we're gonna do tomorrow, but could you make up a plan for the council so we know
Yeah,
what our steps are? I mean, we can plan for the future that way at least.
we can definitely come up with something that you all look at, and then we can also seek legal support and stuff on it as well, what we need and can do, and you all just talk about it, so.
I think it's a good idea that we're taking it, we try to wrap it with our initiative for affordable housing. We look like we're not there, but we're at least starting the process.
Also, it will help with crime prevention because these houses, you don't know what they're being used for, you know, drug use, prostitution, whatever, you know. So.
John?
I can think of, I'm just like Neil, you can think of some off the top of some you can't even hardly find out who owns it. It's
That's correct.
got air property and stuff like that, so it'll be a problem, but like, I guess, you know, you always start a little something and you head in that direction.
I think Steve raised an excellent kind of follow-up idea, and Neil, you're going to be sort of the point person on a lot of this, getting back to us. So I'd like to say thank you for your coming to brief us on something very, very important. We appreciate it, and thank you so much. We've all signed something I think we were supposed to sign for you. Or
I have one thing to add if you don't mind.
yes, ma'am, please do.
You pull your ordinance and see what your ordinance says about the vacant dilapidated homes. That's the first place, yeah, that'd be the first.
Yeah, we'll do the whole process. I'll lay out something for them.
Okay. And the other thing I noticed as I drove in on 321, coming up, you have the two affordable developments coming up. There's no sidewalk there. I don't know is there a back way for them to walk into town, or they don't walk into town?
Some parts of that falls within the county. So some city, some county, it jumps back and forth there.
Okay, so I think the first development, you didn't annex all of it in? We had I think years ago, we were trying to do a project.
The Deerfield areas and stuff is annexed, but then you got pockets of stuff that's non-annexed. We got,
That's right.
Chief. Yeah, so it's.
Well, I was just thinking maybe if you want to talk about, you could do a sidewalk in my neighborhood now. We couldn't do it before. That may be something you want to look at and maybe not.
And some of that's gonna be the county's gonna have to go after it so as well and make the sidewalk improvements and stuff that connect up. So the areas, like I said, that impacts us, the LMI. I mean, you got the apartments and stuff around the post office, all that area kind of around McTier, that falls within the LMI. Then you got some sections in this area right here, just downtown, that kind of falls in it. So
Charles Street in that area.
you got a few. So then the rest of it kind of falls out of it. So it's a hit and miss if we do something with CDBG. It's very, very concentrated efforts. Then we also have to prove that, it kind of serves more residents and stuff in the county. So
If you do something that's townwide, citywide, I think right now in the data, you're still LMI because they didn't change. It hadn't changed since.
yeah, I didn't think
Yeah.
so. I thought it was out of it, was citywide.
Maybe you
I thought we had to go down to the block, track group, whatever it is, the smallest one. So.
Mrs. Johnson, anything else?
That's it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
all
for being here.
coordinating.
You've given us a good roadmap. Thank you, Neil, for being here as well. And we will see you when we see you next.
Hey, have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. Good to see you.
You want to sign anything?
You went,
I do need that.